Good morning. So it is exactly 8:30 in the morning. I'm actually running a bit late, but today I'm going to be doing the 12-hour reading challenge. So I'll leave some links down below to the original, but the idea is simply read for 12 hours and see how many pages you can read. So I'm going to see how many pages I can read. Also, second purpose of this video is that I need to catch up on my OWLs. So I've still got 3 books to read for my OWLs. Can I do it? I don't know. There's still a little bit of the month left, and if I read for 12 hours, hopefully I will get through at least a couple of these. So I'm going to start with The Memory Keeper's Daughter, which is about a couple who have a Down syndrome baby, and then the husband tells the wife she died and hides the baby away. And then I also have this other one, Death and Resurrection, which I've forgotten what it's about. A guy who can travel between the worlds of life and death. I don't know. These are the two I'm going to mainly focus on. I doubt I will get to my last OWLs book, but I'll keep it around just in case. But then the third point of this video is I'm going to test out all the reading spots in my house. So I don't know if you've ever counted how many seats you have in your house, but I counted, and if I count my 3-seater couch as 3, and I count my double bed as 2, and like all that kind of thing, I have 21 seats in my house and 1 person living in my house. So that's quite a lot of seats per person. It's always interesting to hear how many seats per person people have in their house. So do comment down below how many seats per person you have. But since I have 21, some of those are duplicates. So I'm going to try and sit in a different spot for each of the 12 hours. And then at the end of the day, we'll be able to see whether the reading spot had an effect on my reading, although I kind of expect I'll read less and less as we get through the day. Anyway, that's enough of an intro. I need to just actually start reading. Okay, so I have read for 1 hour. I'm only on page 47, but that's probably about the speed I read, considering I didn't quite start exactly an hour ago. As far as the reading spot goes, this is a spot I read in all the time. We're starting things out easy, you know? So this is very comfortable. As far as the book goes, it's a little bit hard to focus on because it keeps jumping back into the characters' memories, and so you have to kind of pay quite close attention to remember whether we're in the present time or the past time. Also, the main relationship is this 33-year-old guy with a 20-something-year-old woman. She's like 10 years younger than him, and he met her by like following her through a shop after he saw her and then lying to her about his sister, and it's clear that he's never come clean about that lie. Ugh, kind of gross. Like, I don't know, just people think it's romantic for a guy to see you and think you're beautiful and then follow you, because I find that 100% not romantic. Also, I realized I never quite read the back properly, but they actually have twins, and so it's the girl baby that has Down syndrome, and the husband lies and says that she died, and then the wife still has the boy twin. Anyway, it's okay. So I will keep reading that, obviously, for the next 12 hours. Right now I'm going to move over to there onto my other sofa, because we're starting out with the easy reading spots, just till we get into it. Okay, another hour down, and I am on page 114, which, according to my spreadsheet, means I've read 67 pages this hour, so that was better than the last hour. I don't think the reading spots are terribly different between the first and second hour. It's just 2 sofas that are pretty much the same, very comfortable. But I read more in the second hour just because I was getting into the story. There's less flipping back and forth between timelines, and I think I'm just getting focused. But now we're going to move to a new reading spot. So we are moving to the bedroom, where I have a random beanbag in the corner. Oh. I once actually tried to sell this beanbag. The person paid for it and then never came and picked it up. So I still have a beanbag. At some point I'll probably get rid of it because I don't really use it. But it's here, it's a seat, Anyway, let's get back to reading. Okay, so that hour I read 68 pages, which is pretty close to last hour. I'm enjoying this. It's actually set in like the 60s and 70s, and the woman who is looking after the daughter with Down syndrome is part of this movement to try and get Down syndrome's kids into schools. So that's interesting. I assume it's based on what actually kind of happened at the time. So I'm interested to learn more about that. And it's kind of interesting seeing kind of the other couple and how their relationship's so broken. Also, I will say that reading in this beanbag for an hour has really cemented my decision to get rid of this beanbag. I just think beanbags are quite overrated. Like, people always say, oh, beanbags, they're so comfortable, but I would much rather sit on the couch. So right now I'm going to move to a much more comfortable spot. I'm going to go and read in my spare bed. Although actually I do have a plan to get rid of that bed as well, so. Honestly, I think it was a mistake to lie down, but according to my spreadsheet, I did read 65 pages this hour, so I'm actually looking like fairly consistent in terms of pace, which is interesting. Right now, I think I'm probably going to get a bit less done in the next hour because I'm going to try and have some lunch. I'm also going to read in my office chair, which is not a place that I normally read, but we'll try it. And I'm going to just have some Cruskets or something that's easy to eat while I read. Okay, so that was fairly uncomfortable to read here. This is a really great space for being productive and for filming booktube videos with my background, but as a space for reading, not so great. But I did get through, oh, why is my graph saying -3? I think I've entered it wrong. 49 pages, that's how much I've read. So it's not as much this hour, but I was eating and I got somewhat distracted. So I think that's still okay. Onto the next reading space. Okay, so technically this reading space isn't part of my house, but I've got too many duplicate seats in my house is the problem. So if I wanted every seat to be different, I had to think out of the box or out of the house as it is. It's hot in here, but I wanted to talk before I open the window because already I think if my neighbors see me out here, they're gonna think I'm strange. But I have read in my car quite a lot when I have been commuting and waiting in places. I have a habit of being very early to things. So I know this is actually a good spot for reading as soon as I open the window and cool it down a bit. Much better. Okay, so back inside after sitting in the car. It was a little bit annoying because my neighbor decided to talk on their phone right near where my car is. So that was a bit distracting, but I did still manage to read 68 pages and I should finish this in the next hour. I'm pretty sure the wife is about to find out about her daughter that she doesn't know is still alive. Also, some really strange things happened. Like, in general, I'm enjoying the theme about how you never know what's going to happen in your life or what's going to make you happy. But something happened in the last kind of hour and it was so unexpected that I went back to see if I'd missed something. Because it wasn't written, I don't know, it was just strange. Anyway, I should finish this in the next hour. I feel like as well, even though I was comfortable sitting in my car, now that I've moved, I feel a bit, oh, it could just be because I've been sitting down all day, which is not something I normally do. But right now, I'm going to go and sit in one of my outside chairs and finish this off. So, I finished my book. And honestly, I don't know how I feel about it. I think the ending was just a little bit stretched out for no reason, and I wish instead of that weird ending we'd gotten more of the daughter's life growing up. I just feel in general like the author didn't know what to do with the story once the mother knew about the daughter still being alive. But there were some really good themes in this story, so I did enjoy it. But that is a lot of reading in one go. So it's 3:06. I'm going to give myself a 5-minute break before I start on the next book. Now technically, I need to go and read it outside again. It's actually quite nice out there, so I don't mind. I'm just filming in here because I don't want my neighbors listening to me. Okay, so I have read 20 pages of this, which means I've forgotten already, even though I just filled out my spreadsheet. I've read 59 pages this hour. It's not too bad. 20 pages of this one. This one, I will just say, there was just a paragraph where a character called Jacob was referred to as Jason, so somebody made a mistake in editing that. And I'm also kind of mad at myself because the next seat that I'm going to try is not one that's very comfortable. So it is this spare chair. It used to be my office chair, but it's so uncomfortable, and then I replaced it when one of my old workplaces was selling off some excess chairs and I got a really cheap, nice one. But this one I still have. It's another one of these things that I really should be getting rid of. But in the meantime, we're going to sit on it and read for an hour and probably hate ourselves afterwards. Okay, so I'm up to page 66. I'm going quite slow, partly because this chair is so uncomfortable and I really need to get rid of it, and partly because I don't really like the writing style of this, and it's really slow paced. Like, some things have been happening. He sort of sometimes disappears and goes into the afterworld and he doesn't really understand why that's happening, but he's not really bothered about it. And some other random stuff is happening, but most of it just seems pointless. Anyway, I guess I'll keep pushing through because I need to read this for my owls. I can't actually remember which owl it is. Anyway, next I'm going to go into the bedroom, which is one of my favorite reading spots, so that should help. So, I am on page 135, which means I've read 79 pages, is that right? 69 pages. It's starting to get dark, and next I'm going to go and sit at the dining table in one of those chairs and also probably have some dinner because I'm getting a bit hungry. This is still not improving. It's just so badly written, or at least I don't like the dialogue. I don't think things are well explained. Also, the main character is Chinese and the person who I assume is going to be a love interest is Native American, and I really have no confidence in the representation. So, yeah. Anyway, food. Okay, so you know what? I'm DNFing this. It's just, I don't like it. It's terribly written. And also, I realized this, I was reading for the prompt to, it's very blue in here, isn't it? I was reading this for the prompt for a bird or an animal with a beak on it on the cover. I've got the audiobook for Mockingjay. I'm going to listen to that instead. I also realized, oh, the blue's gone away. I also realized that I can get the audiobook for Amy out of the library as well. So I'm just going to do everything with audiobook for finishing off my owls and to that book because I don't want to read it anymore. So where did I put my May TBR? Let's start that. Which one should I pick? I'm going to pick this one. I haven't even posted my May TBR yet, but well, it will be up before this vlog goes up. Okay, so I'm going to read Small Steps by Lewis Archer. Hopefully it will be a better read, although actually My sister said it wasn't that great, so we'll see, but I'm going to read this instead. Okay, so I'm up to page 66 of this, which means I read 74 pages in the last hour, and it's so much nicer to be reading something which is actually written clearly and the dialogue makes sense and is more like how people would actually talk. So yes, I'm glad that I decided to DNF the other one and start reading this. Also, I think this is like a middle grade or very young adult book, so it's pretty quick to read. So I'm on 66 and I've got 2 more hours to go, so maybe I could finish it. That's probably slightly optimistic. Anyway, now I'm gonna go and try and sit on the wrong side of the bed, the side of the bed that is not my side of the bed. That's gonna be weird, but that's what I'm gonna do. I honestly don't know if I have ever sat on this side of the bed, so that's weird. It's kind of weird to have like a place to sit in your house that you've never sat in, but here it is. Do I look like I've been reading all day? I feel like disconnected from life. Anyway, in the last hour, I've read exactly 100 pages. This is so much faster to get through. And the story's okay. Like, it's not like The Way Holes kind of links everything together, but it's okay. I'm enjoying it enough. I'm getting through it. For my last hour, I'm going to go and read in the bath. Maybe I can finish this. I know the bath isn't actually one that I counted as a seat in my house, but kind of a seat. Anyway, I'm gonna go read in the bath. Okay, so I finished this book while I was in the bath, which means I read in the last hour 90 pages. I could have read more. I actually had a bit more time, but I finished the book and I didn't want to start anything else. To be honest, after 12 hours of constantly reading, my brain has pretty much just gone on strike at this point. I did have a plan to try and do some video scheduling thumbnails stuff after I finished reading for the day, and my brain is just like, no, we will not be doing anything else today. Thank you very much. But it was still fun to read all day. I'm looking now at my graph and trying to decide whether I learnt anything from this. Obviously, I read more pages in the hours at the end of the day, but I think that was primarily due to this being a much easier read than the other books. You could also say the hour that I did the worst was the one where I was sitting in that horrible spare chair. But was that the chair, or was that because I was reading this book, which I decided was awful? Could have been either of those. I mean, overall, I would say my reading pace seemed to be pretty consistent. A little bit slower right in the first hour when I was getting up to speed, and I started a little bit late. A little bit slower when I was eating, and in that spare chair a little bit slower, but otherwise pretty consistent pace. The average is actually 66.8 pages an hour, which I generally estimate 50 to 60 pages an hour when I'm trying to work out how long a book will take. I will admit, normally I would look on my phone a lot more than I did today. Normally I would be much more distractible, but today I was focused because I wanted to do as well as I could. So I ended up reading 800 pages, which I think is pretty good. I'm sure a lot of people read faster than me. I am definitely not the fastest reader, but I still think that's an okay pace for reading. I think as well, from reading all the different places in my house, I have figured out that the places I normally read are in fact the most comfortable, so I'm not missing out by not reading in the other places, and I really need to get rid of that spare chair and that beanbag because they're not comfortable. Anyway, that was my 12-hour reading challenge. I would love to see others of you do this challenge, even though it is a challenge, so be prepared. Don't plan to be productive afterwards. And also don't forget to let me know how many seats per person you have in your house, because that's something I'm just super curious about. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you're having a really wonderful day, keeping yourself safe, and I will see you next time.